Hello and welcome to the PhotoVidShow tutorials version 4.41. In today's tutorial we're going to show you how you can decorate your slides with more images, text and clip art. So let's get started. Here we can see I've created a wedding type slideshow and I've added all my slides here, but on some of the slides I want to decorate it further with text or some more images or clip art or even a video. I just want to add some more decorations to my slide. So how do we do that? There are two ways to do this. You can left click on your slide such that it's highlighted and select the text and images tab here, or you can simply right click on the slide and select add text and images. Right, now I've got my slide here. I want to quickly add some text. Now there are two ways to do this. If you just double click anywhere in your preview slide area, it will simply allow you to add text. So if I double left click here, I can type in some text. There we go. And if I just click away from it, it makes it permanent. From there I can just select it. As you can see, it's now selected it with these little stretch things here. I can move them about like this, or I can reposition it. As you saw there, I can actually hold down that one and rotate it as well. So there you can see I can position my text to wherever I want it to go. If I want to re-edit this text, I simply double left click it again, and see it's now allowing me to edit the text. So I'm going to change the text to that. Another way to edit the text is simply to highlight it again and select edit text up here. There we go, we can now select it. Now it's worth noting here that anything inside our slide, be it the original back image or text or any other images I'm going to add to it, is referred to in PhotoVidShow as a decoration. So everything you see here is a decoration. That's a text decoration, that's an image decoration if you like. Everything is just decorations. And if you look here in this combo box here, you can see it allows us to select any of our decorations. At the moment we can select none, or our photo 2 JPEG, which is our original picture, or we can select our rings text. If your slide gets cluttered with things and you're not sure what's what, it's sometimes useful to be able to select what you want to select from this combo box here. Also with positioning, if you want to precisely position things, if you just don't want to drag and drop, you want to precisely position things, you've got a little window here which you can, as you can see, you can precisely set the top left width and height with any decoration. So you can also manually type in numbers in here, so I'll take 30. Now these numbers really kind of represent a percentage of the total slide space. So we can see our text here is 30% in from the left, 21% from the top, and has a width of 32%, which is about a third of our slide, and similarly with our height. As you see, our width and height change at the same time now because our text has to sort of match its aspect ratio. For pictures here, when I change it, it will only change one at a time, but as you can see it kind of looks a bit stretched, which is not what you want. Sometimes you want to keep the original aspect ratio. If you want to do that, tick this box here. It's called lock aspect or lock aspect ratio. As you can see, when you decrease the size of things, the width and height change at the same time, like in the text. This is where your image will never look stretched or unrealistic. If you ever accidentally have your image stretched a bit like that, if you right click on it, your image, and select original aspect, as you can see it's now gone back to the original aspect. If you want to add multi-line text, you can simply doubly left click this You can just hit return each time. As you can see, it's added some multi-line text. There we go. I click away and it's made it permanent. As you can see, we've got multi-line text. If you do have multi-line text, you may want to adjust the justification here. You have left, middle or right. It's up to you how you set that. Also, if you want to set the font to anything, there are two ways to do that. Say I want to change the font here. If you right click on your text decoration, you can select edit font, which we're going to do now. So from here we have a whole host of default fonts that you can select through. There's lots there to choose from, but if you want to actually create your own, you can. You can actually, from this window here, you can actually set up your own font. So perhaps we want, that looks a bit sort of very rectangular kind of font. Maybe you want something a bit more, as it's a wedding one, something a bit like that. Something like that maybe we want, and we want to change the colour to black maybe. And now here we can set an outline. If we've got this ticked, it has a sort of outline to our font. If we set the width, as you can see, that's the width. It's sort of, and if we increase the strength, there we go. You can see it has this sort of outline effect to our font. We can change the colour of that. Maybe we want it to be something else. You can select. You can set whatever colours you want, like so. So maybe we want it that green colour. We also have something called gradient body. If I go back to something a bit more solid like that, if I highlight that, as you can see, you can actually have it sort of going from one colour to another. So from black to white here, I can change that to a grey colour. As you can see, we can set our font that way. Also, we can add a shadow. Let's go to another font. As you can see, there's many fonts. These are all the fonts that are stored on your computer. So your list may look slightly different to mine. I have a lot of fonts installed. So maybe we want to add a shadow. There we go. If we decrease, we can add a shadow to our font. We can set the angle of it, like so, and also the strength of the font, things like that. So you can really play around here. I'm just going to have a something like this. I'm going to go back to Isigoe print script 1, and I'm going to switch off shadow. So I'm going to have something like that. I'm going to apply it. Here we can see there's our new font. Now a good idea, if sometimes say you had that and you can't quite see it, you can add a backplane. So there we go, it's added a backplane. There we go, and we can set that colour of it to anything we want to be. If we wanted it blue, I mean these, and we can set the transparency of that. So we can add this kind of backplane to it as well. So I'm just going to get rid of this text. If you right click on some text, you can actually delete it. So we're okay. But I don't want a backplane here. So I'm going to leave it like that for now. The next thing I'm going to do is show you how to add some more images to our slide. If I go to the images and video tab, I can then select add images and video. Say for example I wanted that one. There we go, we've added another image to our slide. So perhaps a nice effect is that if we had this over here, but we could add one of those mask effects shown on a previous tutorial. So if I right click on it and select edit image, select outline mask, I'm going to set it to something like that. There we go. So we can add this type of effect here, see, in the corner. Also, I want this to fill our slide up, so if you right click on it, you can actually set, you've got these options here, fit to slide, fill slide or stretch slide. The default option is fit to slide, which is there, it just fits the picture as best it can, but it may end up with these black bars on the side. So if you want to fill the slide up, there we go, it's filled out now, but it's also done some cropping, unfortunately, but that's the way it is. Another option is to stretch it, but then you get the wrong aspect ratio and it can look a bit stretched. So either fit to slide or fill slide is the best option. So maybe we want something like this. Now I'm going to show you how to add clip art to our slide. If you left click here to add clip art, PhotoVidShow has a whole selection of clip art pictures you can add. Perhaps we want to add a background to some, we want to add that. If I left click and select add to slide, we want to perhaps put our text on that, and I'm going to add, I think there's some rings here somewhere. Here we go, some rings. Okay. Now as you can see, things are drawn not necessarily in the order we want. As you can see, here's all our decorations here, but perhaps we want our text to be drawn on top of this piece of clip art, so we need to change the order of things. There are really two ways to do this. Often the quickest way of doing this is if you right click on a decoration, you can say bring to front or send to back. So often you just want to do bring to front. So if I do bring to front, it's brought this text to the front. As you can see, it's now in front of everything else. If things get confusing and it's all in the wrong order, there is something here called order layers, which I'm going to show you now. There we go, and it's basically listing all our decorations in the order that it gets drawn in. So photo 2, which is our original background picture, is the first thing to get drawn. Then photo 4, which is our little one here. Then sticker, which is our clip art sticker. Then the wedding rings, and then finally our rings. So this is the order things get drawn on your slide. If you select the arrows here, you can actually change the order of things. You can also remove decorations if you don't want them. Also, if you don't know what one of these represents, so maybe we didn't know what photo 4 actually meant, if you select the highlight thing here, it's actually highlighted orange just to remind you what photo 4 is, just in case you forget. So we're going to move that back to the front and the top here. So we're happy with that. That is the order we want things to be drawn in our slide. Okay, now perhaps certain things are orientated wrong or something like that. Perhaps we want this effect here, but we want this bit over there, so we can do a horizontal mirror like that, perhaps. So perhaps we want this type of effect here. We want our rings there. Perhaps we want something like that. So I'm just going to quickly preview that slide. There we go, so you get the idea. Now, a useful tip, perhaps I'll have that a little bit bigger. A useful tip is that if you want to kind of blend things in, I mean at the moment this very much stands out. If you want to blend decorations in each other, sometimes you can just up the transparency. So if I select this and up the transparency to say 25, somewhere around that kind of figure, a quarter. It's sort of blended that image in. So there we go, the image is a bit more blended. It kind of gives it a softer effect. So perhaps I'll apply that to our text as well, and to also to our rings. And perhaps we could try that. I don't know if that's going to work or not. Maybe a bit less. There we go. So there we go. We've added some text and pictures there. Let's increase the size of that a little bit. I will reduce the size of that. So you can just kind of play around with things like this until you're happy. Okay, I'm not an artist myself, so I'm sure you can do a better job than me. Right, you can also, if I was to right click this, is a bit yellow, but maybe I can actually edit the image. We've done this, covered this before. Even if it's clip art, you can still edit things on it. So perhaps I want that just to be monotone. There we go, something like that. And perhaps we want to bring that down. I'm going to unlock the aspect ratio of that, so I can do this. There we go. So there we go. Now the next thing I'm going to quickly show you is that once I'm previewing that slide, these decorations appear throughout the slide. So from the start of the slide there to the end, these decorations are always shown. Sometimes it's nice to have an effect where things fade in after a few seconds and then fade out again. Or things are only really shown for a certain time the slide is shown for. This can be done by this area here. At the moment it's got a shown time, so this is where what time this decoration is shown for throughout this slide. Now the slide is 8 seconds long, and that decoration is shown from time 0 to time 8, so that's total length of the slide. So if I was to select that to 2.5 seconds there, and say there, now this decoration here will only be shown from times 2.5 seconds to times 6.5 seconds. So if I now quickly preview that, there you can see it suddenly appears and suddenly disappears. I won't go into motion effects at the moment, but there is a motion effect which is just to fade in and out, and there is a shortcut way of doing that. If I right click on that decoration, select motion effects, set to fade, I select fade in and out there. When I now preview that, you see the decoration then faded in and then faded out. Okay, that's nice. Now I'm going to apply that effect to the other parts of these. So and also to that one I'm going to set the motion effect to fade in and out, and I'm also going to apply this effect to the text. It's going to be shown from 2.5 to 6.5 seconds, and it's also going to have that fade in and out effect. So when I select on that and preview it, there we go, as you can see. Okay, in this tutorial we've showed you how to add text and images to your slideshow and to your slides, and we talked about adding clip art, text, and we showed you how to modify the font, and we've also shown you how to set the exact position of things, and also the shown time, how often, what part of the slide things are shown for. I hope you've learnt a lot today, and I'll see you soon for the next tutorial.